quick just to show you what it's all about and the way it should flow. The very first part of the turn, and the first phase of the turn, I should say, and it's broken down into phases. We have initiative, we have movement, we have the action phase, we have the reactive movement phase, and the main combat phase. Now, it sounds complicated, but it actually rolls together pretty well. So let's go ahead and take the initiative phase. This starts out with both players rolling off and adding their modified initiative values. In this case, the USMC has a modified initiative of 5, making that a 9, and the insurgents have a modified initiative of 3, making that a 4. Obviously, USMC in this case wins. That means that the losing player in the movement phase, which is the next portion of the turn, has to go first. They can either move a model or create a fire team with up to 4 models to make a move. Let's say they do so, and this continues back and forth between the players, either making fire teams or moving one model until everyone is moved or elected not to. Also during this phase, if you move tactically, you're going to get tactical marker, etc. You're going to gain bonuses or gain penalties depending on what kind of movement you do. After that, we go into the action phase. Now the team or the player who won action or the initiative takes the first action, and they can then with a -1 penalty during this for any action in this phase that involves combat, obviously. And this simulates like dynamic actions, like he's jumped the fence and now he's firing on the move, stuff like that. So let's say, for instance, he was going to shoot him. He's within range of his weapon. Let's say it's an M14. He's a militia. That's a base of 3, covers of 4, +1 for the phase, which is a 5. It would take a dice roll of a 5 to hit him with a single shot. And that goes back and forth between between the players alternating. The way it's conducted, however, is if I elect to act, I pick a target. That target then compares its modified base attack with mine, and whoever has the higher wins and gets to act first. So, for instance, in the previous example, if I decided I want to shoot this guy, and he has a higher action total than I have, then guess who gets to fire first? He does. Also, if I elect to shoot at him, that doesn't mean that he's the only one that can shoot or take an action back at me. It could be anybody with line of sight and range to me. So you got to bear that in mind. And that continues back and forth until everybody's taken an action. One of the sneaky things to do, like we've gone over in the dodge video, is, for instance, let's say I'm out of sight and I'm the last one to act. I can take a dodge action and run out here my 3 inches, and nobody can react to me, especially since they've already gone. And then that kind of leads up for the next phase where I get to go make a reactive move and then get close for a charge. But that generally only works if you actually have the initiative. And again, the insurgents do this time. So combat action phase is over. Now we're at the reaction movement phase. The only action or movement action that you can do in the reaction movement phase, besides moving your secondary characteristic of your movement, which in most cases is 4 inches, i.e. that second portion of your stat, the team who lost initiative has to move all their figures first. So in this case, the USMC would have to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to seek cover. I'm going to move my 4 inches and try to get out of line of sight, or I'm just going to set up a really good firing position behind cover, and then whoever won initiative gets to react to that. For instance, I too get to seek cover, or maybe let's say I was here, maybe I get to initiate close combat, or even if I was here, I can move my 3 inches out of close combat to maybe seek cover. There's all kinds of options. Regardless, they do all theirs first. Whoever won initiative does their second. And then the main combat phase pops in. And this is the last phase where we don't have any more penalties for acting, meaning we're not, we've reactive moved or we've moved into our final positions and we're setting up, we're taking aim, we're being a little bit more deliberate. And so there's no penalties here. So for instance, this guy shooting this guy he's a militia and he's got an M14. He's going to receive no penalties for range, so he'd be base 3, cover 4, that's it. And so he'd need 4s and missed. But a lot easier to hit during this phase because you've already, I guess you're not jumping around, you've already done all that and you're in your final resting spot for the turn. Regardless, when you're in the action phase after you've moved, You cannot change facing to acquire target. So let's say I've it's turn one, and I move, and I'm facing this way. I can then get to the reaction or the action phase, and then want to react to this guy doing something, and then turn to face him. If he's out of my arc and not in my line of fire, I have to have line of sight to react, and therefore can't. Anyway, just general. That's how the turn flows. Just some hints on how to play and what to look for, and hopefully you're enjoying it. I know I am.